What's good, everybody in Chicago? This is Kali speaking. I have a lot of fun stuff to talk to you today about. We're going to be talking about NVIDIA's RTX Remix and how that has been injected into Half-Life 2 RTX from our folks over at Obifold Studios, and showcasing, a little bit of my time with the technology. The wonderful folks over at NVIDIA who are sponsoring this video and hooked us up with, look at this beautiful, lovely 5080 card that they sent over. That thing looks so good in that rig. Look how beautiful it is. Talking about what they have been doing with the technology and how they've kind of made some strides in terms of giving some old games some new life in a lot of different ways. So I'm going to be walking you through my time with some sections of the RTX demo from Half-Life 2 and showcasing some of the new and improved ways that they have been able to, make this game look new in a way that I hadn't seen before. So let's just run into it. So in my time with the demo and with the gear, I think some of the stuff that I was really looking forward to was, showcasing and showing off, the tech that was being implemented into the new demo, full ray tracing, there's some remastered and enhanced assets in the game. You're seeing me kind of start through the demo initially in that beginning phase of where you are. And they had this really cool console that you could pop open that would let you switch between the old graphics and the new technology that's in there. So you're seeing NVIDIA DLSS 4 with frame generation, with multi-frame generation, and seeing just what Obifold Studios did with, not even just fully up-resing all of this stuff, but just giving new technology in terms of lighting and fog and foliage and all of those pieces of tech that really come to bring this into a really interesting and new space. It winds up being something where, looking at older games like this, we saw Portal kind of use the technology before, and now seeing it be used in a game like Half-Life 2 in this one demo, it really showcases how fantastic and advanced some of the technology is in the work that they had done with the Remix system and the Remix modding platform, that it gives me a lot of hope for what we'll be able to see with some older games moving into the future. I think there's going to be a lot of technology that might be able to be used in new ways. And you're seeing in this kind of video that I took, it's really a huge change in what the assets look like from the original form to what you get on the RTX Remix platform. And makes me really excited to see what's going to move forward in terms of other games that get this kind of treatment and other ways that you get a chance to see, studios take full advantage of the hardware and seeing how, me moving and playing with this 5080 card gets me to show off a ton of different new tech and a ton of different lighting and a whole bunch of other stuff that's in that mix. And it's really, really cool. Again, these are old games. Half-Life 2 is a very old game by today's standards. And knowing that, a game like this exists and is still in a space where it feels fun to play, and also, giving it new life in terms of the way that it kind of explains itself graphically is super cool. The fact that I'm able to switch between these in this kind of console that they gave us to be able to use and be able to play with. And trust me, there's a lot more you could do in this console, besides switching between things on the fly and getting a chance to see what the old graphics look like as a comparison to the new. And you'll see just so much is really done with lighting in here. The lighting is so different in the ways that it conveys where shadows are and volumetric, path tracing and volumetric lighting, and fog and things like that. All of those things are coming from assets that got replaced by Obifold Studios. And they've done such a really good job of redoing basically every particle that you could wind up seeing in there. And just the way that animations in the game look different. The animations in the way that the weapons work, those all look very, very different. Some of the fire effects are different. Me dying is not different. I died a lot in multiple things. But small things of the models getting changed in the game in a way that automatically showcases how up-resing and, you know, the painstaking work that it took to make this happen. It's extremely cool to see, you know, how all of these assets have gotten a lift from the platform, and figuring out good ways to check out, you know, just how impressive and detailed things were back then, and then seeing, you know, these assets get a huge lift in terms of visibility, in terms of detail, in terms of, you know, all of the interesting parts that make games that we think of in this kind of new space so much more different. And, you know, we have an expectation these days to be able to kind of look at games from those standpoints. You know, I was coming into this room and seeing all the decals that were in the space, and, you know, the grass on the floor, the leaves on the floor, and how the bricks on the floor look. And then as soon as you pop it into, you know, basically what I call RTX mode, look how different this looks. The lighting, the shadows, you know, some of the, I don't know if necessarily the physics are different, but like just the detail in the bricks alone changes what this looks like. The details in the siding, when you're seeing those things change in real time, like all of that looks different. The models on, you know, the enemies just look so different. It is a really cool demonstration of how NVIDIA has been thinking about, you know, giving these kinds of tools to developers in ways that we haven't really seen before. You know, we haven't seen some of those things in that space. Some of the stuff that I didn't really get a chance to play around with just for time, because I wanted to make sure we were getting this video out as soon as we could, because we're a little bit late with it. But, you know, RTX frame gen is definitely a part of what this looks like. I tried it on other games that I was playing when I had the 5080 loaded in, and you definitely did see a pretty significant jump in terms of frames for what we got a chance to see. The multi-frame generation technique and technology that you saw there made some of the games that I played, you know, a little bit faster in the ways that I had expected them to do. But when I say faster, it wasn't just by like a couple of frames. It was by like a bunch of frames. It was like moving things up 10 to 20 frames from what I was playing with initially. It is super cool to be able to see, you know, what the team is doing with this tech now, and then gives me even more of a, you know, hope that we're going to see some games that are, you know, a little bit older get some love like this. I don't even know how much time it takes for a studio to kind of go through the process of making a thing like this, but you can see all the details are so front facing. They feel so different. It makes the game feel extremely live and extremely new. And I think, you know, one of the things that really stood out to me was, again, how they enhance some of the backgrounds and some of the spaces that you're in. So like, for instance, here, you know, looking at this space, you see the fire, dynamic fire, all those things. You see the grass, you see the trees, all those things that are in there. And then when you click the button and take it out to go back to where it was originally, it's all gone. Like, this is what it looked like when we first played this game for the first time. And now looking at it in this way, it is wild to see how much Orbifold did to really, you know, enhance this experience in a way that just changed all of what I had an expectation for. The dynamic lighting, the fog, all of that coming through with this 5080 card in the 50 series, and seeing all of those pieces kind of come through just really made me excited to see what the future can be for technologies that NVIDIA has kind of embraced and been a leader in this space for a long time. You know, I was walking around checking out things and seeing where, you know, differences were, and again, like shadows were a big deal, and just seeing where, you know, and how the space was changed, and it's a huge difference. Like, again, the wall decals just look amazingly different. It just looks very, you know, akin to what I'm expecting new games to feel like. But these are the old games that we played when we started playing video games on PC. And it's really cool to be able to see how all of that is coming through. So, you know, I think the folks over at NVIDIA, the folks over Orbifold have done a fantastic job. I think these are things that you can really see come to fruition in, you know, the way that you're playing and the expectations that you have from the hardware that you're going to be putting into your rig. I think, you know, we have an understanding and an idea of what, you know, ray tracing is and path tracing is, but I think getting a chance to see it happen where you're literally switching between the original game and then the newer version with the remastered assets and pieces of the game that make up what Half-Life 2 were. It's really cool to see how far we've come. You know, I'm an old fart gamer. I've been playing games for a long period of time. And getting to see, you know, just even those small moments be changed so well and be changed in a way that is visibly discernibly different. That is super, super cool. So I want to end out our quick video with a couple of screenshot comparisons so you can see exactly where, you know, the differences are if you weren't going to get a chance to really see it in game. You know, it was a really stark difference in between the two. But I want to start off with a hallway that we were looking in and looking at the original hallway and seeing how flat those assets were, like the wood, the gun, the lighting, you know, the bricks on the wall, and then getting a chance to see what it looks like in an enhanced version with, you know, all of the light sources being more dynamic and showcasing, you know, the direction that those lights are showing and bouncing off of those walls and being able to see the depth of the brick and things like that. Like, that stuff is super cool. I'm going to show it again, like the original and then the enhanced version. Like, that's crazy how much these cards are doing with the technology that we've been given. And then again, you know, things that you don't really necessarily notice all the time, but, you know, when you're playing a game and you're kind of walking through the spaces is, you know, like that was what it looked like when we first played the game. Those decals and, you know, ways that things looked on the walls, and, you know, that's world building that you wind up getting in these spaces to kind of make things look old and different. And then you see the enhanced version and that looks fantastic. Like the gate, the pipes, the decal on the wall, the shotgun, all of those things look so different in a way that is, you know, very, very special and very, very cool. It is, again, amazing to see where we've come in such a short amount of time. So I'm going to end out this video with a big thank you to our friends over at NVIDIA. And you know, I love working with them. They've been a fantastic partner and doing a lot of great work with them. And just seeing and showcasing what they've been doing with the Remix platform, and giving more studios access to it to be able to kind of check out and showcase their work has been fantastic. So we're going to end out here with this video. Again, huge shout out to our friends over at NVIDIA for giving us access to not only a beautiful 5080 card, but letting us get a chance to check out this awesome RTX demo. And huge shout out to Orbifold Studios for all the hard work that they did putting this all together for all of us to check out. So much love to you all in Chicago. We want to do more cool stuff like this across, you know, games and with fantastic partners. So massive love to our friends over at NVIDIA again. And we hope to see you all very, very soon with more dope stuff from here at Spawn on Me. Much love to you all. Have a great rest of your week. We say peace.